I predict that the 21st century is going to be the Indian century.
India is seen as one of the last major growth markets for the retail giant.
They're sinking a lot of money into India because the projections are crazy. I mean, analysts say that this is a market that's going to be worth $100 billion by 2022.
In 2015, Jeff Bezos said that India will be Amazon's most important market after the US. And it made sense. India was one of the fastest growing economies at the time. And although the e-commerce was just taking shape in the country, it was estimated that Indian e-commerce will be worth $100 billion by 2020. In India, Jeff Bezos saw the next phase of growth for his company. He invested more than $5 billion in just the first 3 years of arriving in India. Amazon literally created India's e-commerce sector along with Flipkart. Its timely delivery, great customer experience worked really well in India. And it looked like Amazon will dominate India's e-commerce market for a long time. But in the last few years, Amazon seems to be failing in India. Young founders like Vidit and Sanjeev of Meesho, Adit and Kavalya of Zepto, and Dipinder Goyal of Zomato and Blinkit seems to be giving Amazon a run for its money.
The need for instant, quick commerce is actually quite high. I mean, if you can get your headphones in matter of 7-8 minutes, why would you wait for a day on Amazon? There's no point.
In FY23, Amazon India's revenue grew by just 3.4%, which was the slowest growth the company faced in its history. In addition, the company is also facing tough regulations from the Indian government. And experts now feel that they are skeptical of Amazon's ability to bounce back as a firm in India. So the question is, what really happened? How did Amazon lose track in India, and what are the exact challenges it faces? Let's understand all of this in this video. Amazon started its journey in India in 2013. By then, the company was already present in almost a dozen countries. And these countries, if you would notice, are mostly matured economies. They have a high GDP per capita, and this expansion helped Amazon to become the largest e-commerce company in the world. In terms of revenue, it was more than 9 times the size of the second largest player, eBay. But there was one big problem. Amazon's growth was slowing down. Company was moving towards market saturation in most of the countries it was present in, and so the company needed a new market where it could derive its next phase of growth from. And so Amazon looked at India. India was one of the fastest growing economies at the time, and e-commerce was just taking shape in the country. According to this report by PwC, e-commerce sales in India accounted for less than 1% of total retail sales in 2013. But at the same time, the sector was seeing a crazy amount of growth. According to the same report, the Indian e-commerce sector as a whole was growing at a 35% CAGR. In terms of real numbers, the size of Indian e-commerce grew from just $2.5 billion in 2009 to $16 billion in 2013. And it was projected to reach $100 billion by 2020. And because of this massive potential, Amazon treated India as its most important market outside the US. Now, when Amazon entered India, it wasn't easy for the company in the early days. India was a significantly different market compared to other Western markets the company was present in. So whether it's the customer behavior, logistical scene, or government regulations, Amazon had to learn everything from scratch. In addition, the company also faced tough competition from existing players like Flipkart and Snapdeal. But Jeff Bezos was confident. His philosophy with Amazon from day one has been to focus on the customer and not the competition.
The number one thing that has made us successful by far is obsessive, compulsive focus on the customer as opposed to obsession over the competitor.
Also, the company had one thing that its competitors lacked: money, and a lot of it. Within months of starting operations in India, Amazon announced a $2 billion investment in the country. The company had signaled to everyone that it was here to play a long-term game. In the next few years, Amazon took several measures to attract both customers and sellers. And let's talk about customers first. See, Amazon knew that customers in any country like two main things: timely delivery and a good customer support. And so the company began by setting up its own logistical infrastructure to ensure timely delivery to the customers. Next, in order to give a good customer support, the company worked on several fronts. To begin with, it made its website easy to navigate. It then allowed hassle-free product returns. And by doing all this, the company slowly started becoming the first choice, at least for Tier 1 India. Next, Amazon also took several important measures to attract sellers. It launched something called Amazon Seller Services, which at the time was more comprehensive than Flipkart's program for sellers. Let me show you how. Amazon had a program called FBA in the early days, which meant Fulfillment by Amazon. Under this program, the company took care of end-to-end services for the sellers. So for example, let's say you're a small retailer in one of the Indian cities. Till now, you used to run an offline store, but now you also want to start selling on Amazon. But the problem is you don't have time and resources to give to this new avenue. This is where Amazon's FBA program came to the rescue. Their team would come to collect your products and store them at their warehouses. And when Amazon received an order from the customer, they pack it and ship it to the customer. And finally, the company would also take care of post-purchase stuff like returns and replacements. Basically, Amazon made it very simple for people to sell online. Next, Amazon took some crazy initiatives like Amazon Chai Cart, where they sat down with small retailers and shopkeepers to educate them on online selling. And this Chai Cart idea, by the way, was inspired by Narendra Modi's Chai Pe Charcha. And because of all these efforts, in just 3 to 4 years, Amazon had beaten all the small players and had become a close second to Flipkart in India. But around this time, India was going through a major shift in its internet journey, and Amazon completely failed to understand this. Let me explain this point by taking an interesting framework. This framework which I'm using is borrowed from Kishore Biani of Future Retail, where he divides India in terms of consumption. So there is India 1, 2 and 3. India 1 is the premium set of Indians, which population wise is around 8 to 9%, but are responsible for 50 to 60% of national consumption. Then there are India 2 and India 3, which constitute almost 90% of India's population but consume way less compared to India 1. And the thing is, this India 1 was the initial target segment for Amazon. For these people, experience mattered more than the price. And Amazon could successfully use the lessons it learned in the US for this specific market. But the issue was that this market was slowly moving towards saturation. Starting in 2017, India started seeing a major shift in the e-commerce space. And that's because the India 2 that I just mentioned started coming online. And one big reason for that was Reliance Jio.
Jio will give the power of data to each Indian to fulfill every dream and to collectively take India to global digital leadership.
This new segment of people had different needs and behaviors when it came to e-commerce, and Amazon failed to understand them. One company that succeeded here was Meesho. And let me give you a few examples to explain why Amazon failed where Meesho succeeded. The first reason was there was a lack of understanding about e-commerce in Tier 2 and Tier 3 India. People thought it's too expensive, and there was a lack of trust between the buyers and sellers. So while players like Amazon failed to tackle this problem, Meesho came up with a very simple yet genius idea to solve for trust. They realized that Tier 2 and Tier 3 India spends a lot of time on WhatsApp, and so they started by selling through WhatsApp groups. Here, they enabled a lot of people to become resellers. So for example, let's say you're a 22-year-old woman in a small town in India. Now, you're not a businesswoman, but you have decent knowledge about beauty products. So what Meesho allowed is you can buy beauty products on Meesho and then resell them to people on your WhatsApp contact. This solved for the trust part, as people knew these resellers personally. And this allowed Meesho to penetrate into a totally new but massive segment of customers. And today, while Amazon is struggling now with this segment, Meesho has onboarded 12 crore customers. And it is growing at 32% year on year, which is way more than Amazon at 13%. Next reason was that selling on platforms like Amazon was very expensive for sellers. According to this graph, Amazon and Flipkart charge 30 to 40% commission from the sellers on average. To cover this cost, sellers added the margin on the buying price, and hence the product became 30 to 40% more expensive for the buyer. This wasn't affordable for most Indians, and Meesho solved this by introducing a zero commission model, and instead it just charged a small fulfillment fee from the sellers. Because of this, the final product became cheaper for the customers as well. According to reports, 65% of the products on Meesho are 20 to 30% cheaper compared to other platforms. And the final reason why Amazon failed to Meesho was the longer payment cycles for the sellers. So if you're a seller on Amazon and let's say you sold products worth 10,000 rupees, then you will get that money in your account in 14 plus 3 to 5 days, which is for clearance. And so the seller has to wait for almost 17 to 19 days to get his money. This is not feasible for small sellers, as they need money immediately to place further orders. Meesho solved this by making payments in 7 days. So now the sellers need less working capital to keep their business going. So this shift from tier 1 to tier 2 and 3 was the first battle Amazon lost. The next shift that came to India's e-commerce sector was after the pandemic, and it was something called quick commerce. It began as a quick grocery delivery phenomena, but soon the companies realized that they can deliver everything else in 10 minutes too. And this became such a success in India that a sector which did not exist just 3 years ago is now threatening the traditional e-commerce sector. Just to give you a context, the biggest player in quick commerce, Blinkit, is valued at $13 billion. And this is already half of Amazon India's worth. So basically what Amazon achieved in 11 years in India, Blinkit achieved half of it in just 3 years. And while traditional e-commerce space is growing 11 to 12% year on year, quick commerce last year grew at 125% growth rate. At this speed, Blinkit's valuation will surpass Amazon India before the end of this decade. And what's surprising is that Amazon is a company which took pride in delivering orders fast. But still, they haven't done anything to take part in quick commerce space. Even its rival Flipkart recently announced that they will be getting into quick commerce by launching Flipkart Minutes. So it will be very interesting to see how Amazon navigates this space. And the final reason I want to talk about in this video why Amazon is failing is government regulations. See, e-commerce is a very crucial sector for the Indian economy. And the current government has made it clear many times that it would not allow a foreign company to become too strong in this space.
Many of these large e-commerce companies have come into India and very blatantly flouted the laws of the land. Many of the practices are certainly anti-consumer interests.
In the last 5 years, the government has brought many regulations to curtail the expansion of companies like Amazon. For example, in 2019, the government brought a law which stopped companies like Amazon to sell products from brands it has ownership in. So now, Amazon India can't invest in third-party brands and then sell their products exclusively on its e-commerce platform. Because of this, Amazon was forced to remove 4 lakh products from its platform. Another big move the government has taken is ONDC, where it plans to democratize e-commerce in the country and hence break the monopoly of companies like Amazon and Flipkart. So now the question is, how does the future look like for Amazon? Well, it looks like Amazon understands it's losing the e-commerce battle in India, and hence the company is now focusing on other sectors. According to this TechCrunch report, under the new CEO Andy Jassy, Amazon is now prioritizing its cloud business in India. For example, last year the company announced that Amazon will invest $15 billion in India by 2030. But out of that, $12.7 billion, or around 85% of the money, will go to AWS operations and expansion. In addition, Amazon is also doubling down on digital payments in India after seeing the success of Google Pay. Just to give you some context here, in FY 23-24, UPI payments grew by 57% to reach 131 billion transactions. And according to estimates, in the next 5 years, UPI will account for 91% of all digital payments in India. And right now, 82% of this market is captured by just 2 companies, PhonePe and Google Pay. And Amazon wants to become a significant player in this space. But the reality is, all the expansion plans of Amazon depend on its e-commerce platform, as that's the distribution company has built over the last decade. And this distribution is something that the company would like to use if it needs to expand into new sectors like payments. And if the growth in e-commerce slows down, other segments of Amazon will also take a hit. In the end, I want to hear from you. What do you think of Amazon's journey in India? Do you agree with the points I made in the video? Or do you think the company can still make a comeback in the e-commerce space? Share your thoughts in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.